On July 5, 1937, exactly 85 years ago today, Hormel Foods Corporation Spam was originally sold in cans with only 6 ingredients: pork, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrite. Spam has sold more than 9 billion units across 48 countries and is presently offered in 11 different variants. Spam Boulevard can be found in the Minnesotan town of Austin. Austin's transformation into Spamtown, USA began when George A. Hormel and Company was formally founded by 1901 and began processing entire pigs, beef, and sausage casings at its Austin facility. After participating in World War I, J. Hormel succeeded his father as president in 1929, but it would be another 8 years before the product that would have the greatest impact on Hormel's financial performance was developed. J. Hormel set out to develop a product that consumers could use at home and that was smaller and family-friendly in size. In particular, it took a good many years for the Hormel product team to realize that sealing the pork in a vacuum stopped the meat from sweating inside the can. The origin of the term Spam is unknown. However, Hormel claimed it was derived from the words spice and ham, even though neither element is present in Spam. The name is also thought to have originated with Ken Daigneault, the vice president's brother at Hormel Foods. Hormel held a name competition for the new product at a New Year's Eve celebration. Daigneault casually uttered the word, Spam, and Hormel thought it was perfect. Housewives in the late 1930s quickly became accustomed to the idea of unrefrigerated meat, but it wasn't until World War II that the brand gained international recognition when the U.S. military bought a range of canned meats to feed troops serving abroad. According to Hormel's estimates, 100 million pounds of Spam were shipped overseas to soldiers from the United States and other allies. Due to rationing and the presence of American troops, Spam's reach extended to England and the nations of the Asian Pacific during World War II. There, the meat quickly became a mainstay on menus. It was a big help to have food that could withstand the tropical heat and be stored on a shelf for weeks and months. By the end of World War II, thousands of American GIs were returning home and refusing to eat it, and Spam's role as a convenient protein source began to gradually change to that of an occasional side dish. However, as the majority of Americans pushed Spam to the side of their plates, the canned pork rose to culinary fame in Hawaii and the Asian Pacific. Asia's current affinity for Spam is closely related to World War II and its immediate aftermath, when a whole generation was raised on the food. In addition, sanctions were imposed on Hawaiian citizens, which limited the deep-sea fishing sectors, which were primarily controlled by Japanese Americans. Because fishing was outlawed, one of the primary sources of protein for the islands vanished. In its substitute, sardines, other canned luncheon meats, and Spam were used. Simultaneously across the Pacific, Japan and Korea's citizens were on the verge of hunger. The arrival of the Spam cans was a lifesaver under those dreadful circumstances at the close of World War II. Budae jjigae would become a staple during the Korean War in Korea, where American forces had been stationed there. A popular present for the Lunar New Year, wrapped in gift boxes with cooking oil and seasonings, Spam is now consumed in Korea in second place worldwide behind only the United States. As native Koreans and Japanese immigrated to Hawaii in the decades following World War I, food culture on the islands grew even more entwined, fusing the culinary tastes of the locals with those of the Asian and Anglo diasporas. The Hawaiian variation of onigiri known as Spam musubi, which binds a cooked slab of Spam to rice with a piece of nori, is said to have been created by Japanese immigrants to Hawaii. Today, Hawaii's love of Spam has kept a 10-year-old Spam festival alive in Waikiki, where chefs and Spam fans get together to celebrate and learn more about the lunchmeat's role to Hawaiian culture. In order to encourage interaction amongst local Waikiki residents and visitors, the inaugural Spam Jam was created. After a few years, the event expanded into a full-day street fair, and Hormel now sends ambassadors in the form of Sir Can-A-Lot and Spammy to pose for pictures with visitors. Researchers at Hormel are attentively observing as Spam appears on more restaurant menus to determine how culinary trends might affect new flavor profiles for Spam. Hormel has introduced additional flavors in recent years to liven up Spam, including black pepper, jalapeno, and most recently, chorizo and teriyaki variants. The Spam product range also includes previously released items including hot and spicy Spam, hickory smoke-flavored Spam, and bacon-flavored Spam.